Right, Geordie Journos, probably not the kind of result or performance you want us to be analysing, but such is life. Newcastle United, of course, beaten 3-0 here tonight. Whenever you watch this is the evening of the game. Our snap reaction to the match after an inexplicable 15 minutes or so proved so costly for Newcastle United. I might start actually. I might put my little 2 penneth in. I think it's a tired, physically and emotionally, mentally, everything. Exhausted Newcastle United side. And I think that's when you see errors and you see mistakes. I think we're seeing a little bit of that creep in from Kieran Trippier tonight as the happy punter's wheeling away from Goodison Park behind me. I hope you can get a sense of where we are.
They've turned off the
it's a shame.
The Everton lights.
We framed it so well. Sums up the night really, doesn't it?
So it just looks like we're in an industrial estate somewhere where cars was impassable. We are actually outside Goodison Park. Right, my 2 penneth. Yeah, I think it's a physically and mentally exhausted Newcastle United. Eddie Howe has had to keep going to the well with the same players, and I think we're just going to see performances like this if he has to keep playing the same players over and over again. It's a shame. Kieran Trippier has been outstanding, probably one of the poster boys for the new era at Newcastle United with his incredible performances, his leadership, everything about him has been incredible. But wow, was that a capitulation from a very experienced international player who went to apologise to the fans after, and that was exactly what he needed to do, because his 3 errors, particularly the first 2, the third can be made at any point, but I think he was gone totally by that point in added time. The 2 gifting possession for the first 2 goals was just inexplicable from a player of his quality and ability, and it's cost his teammates today. He wasn't the only one. It feels harsh to really call him out initially, but he wasn't the only one. It was a very disjointed Newcastle United performance, is the way I would describe it today. They were still in the game, and that's the silliest part about it, is that the game could easily have went either way. If Anthony Gordon or Alexander Isak or Miguel Almiron, who all had, I think, a couple of chances each, really good ones as well. If any of them have their shooting boots on today, it's probably a different story. But like I say, such is the nature of Newcastle United season, that as the vans and the workers all
until we started filming.
Peel off behind me. They're a very tired front 3, and I think you can see that. A very tired front 6, in my opinion. I think they look spent in many ways, even though they've had a little bit more of a break than maybe they would have had, and the game's just come thick and fast. I think Tottenham, I just don't know what to expect from that game on Sunday. I suspect the midweek hour against AC Milan, with it being a home game, might be a different kettle of fish, but Sunday to me looks like a daunting prospect, I would suggest, after what we've seen tonight. And also, although Spurs went and got beat off West Ham, by all accounts it was quite some performance by Spurs in that first half, and a good riposte by West Ham in the second. So right, lads, let's hear your thoughts. Jordan, I can see you. You're smirking and smiling, but I think you're more smirking and smiling at me than you are about the game itself.
No, I'm just laughing at the location. Every time I try to do something outside the stadium, it's usually a bit chaotic before the cars come.
Well, we had the dark of Brighton, which was a similar type of result and performance, without this man here on the right hand side, which did quite well. Thanks for all your video interaction on that one. But yeah, it's been another. I think they keep turning the lights out on one of these type of performances, don't they?
Yeah. The lights are out on Newcastle United's away form this season as well, so we've tried to transition that quite well. I don't know if I managed to do that.
Slick.
Away day blues for Newcastle this season. It's sort of gone under the radar until probably tonight. 1 win in the league this season, 2 in all competitions. Obviously at Manchester United win, 1 in the league was Sheffield United. They've just never seemed to have got going much. You know, you think of the contrast to last season. I think Eddie Howe said in his press conference afterwards, they were free scoring and defensively solid away from home this season. Now, if you play anyone at St James's Park, Newcastle will get a result, but yeah, away from home they've really struggled. Previously you've sort of had possibly, I wouldn't say an excuse, but you think about the games that they've had away from home after European days. You understand they're playing midweek and then going to a away game on the weekend is difficult. But I think this time they almost had as many days rest as what they've had since August, and what is it, a 4 or 5 day rest since the last game. They haven't had that, or the international break, since the Champions League campaign kicked off. But that didn't aid them in any way today. They looked like a team, as they did against Bournemouth. They just looked dead on their feet. And I thought
same 11 players, wasn't it? That's the problem.
But I thought they would have looked little bit more refreshed for this game. I think, you know, you look at players even went away on trips. I think Bruno and Joe Linton ended up going to Paris, for example. You know, bit of downtime, refresh their mind and refresh their body. And they may have done that, but that didn't show in the performance today. They were totally off it. Look at Kieran Trippier, obviously the standout in terms of the errors. I think probably 3 errors in the end, to be honest, with the 2 gifts to Dwight McNeil down the left hand side, and then also playing better one for the goal and injury time as well. But I think across the park, I don't think you can pick out any good performances from that. Probably a shout out to Lewis Miley, who I thought probably for 75 minutes was good. Almost his performance was overshadowed by the late capitulation.
Joe Linton maybe I think could have had a case to say he was okay.
And Jamal Lascelles was good, which Tom pointed out during the game. Done really well against Calvert-Lewin, to be honest. Really strong in strong in his tackles. But I mean, 1 to 11. Anthony Gordon really off day for him. Not sure if the occasion got the better of him. I mean, he had them 2 chances in the second half. He's snatched them, hasn't he?
I think he had 3 where he's literally snatched at every single one. Or when he's gotten out on positions where he could create something, that clinical edge or that finishing touch that he's had so much this season just avoided him. Same with Alexander Isak. He's had to plough a lone furrow by himself up there in every single game, virtually playing every single minute. He looks like a tired centre forward, in my opinion. He looks like a player who needs a rest. There is no rest for the wicked in this season that is a remarkable season that is Newcastle United's. Dom, any thoughts?
Yeah, it was just...
Alright lads, enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll get away.
We're getting the mini
eventually.
taken out, we're here. We're getting the mini taken.
It was an off night. It's the late goals again away from home. We've seen pretty much every away defeat Newcastle have had this season, or any time they've dropped points away from home. We saw West Ham was late, Wolves was quite late, PSG obviously being quite late. Tonight again, they were in the game. It wasn't a game high on quality by any means. 0-0, as Liam said, it could have gone either way with 15 minutes left, and I think I pointed out, there's not long left. It sort of flew over the second half, and I thought Newcastle were actually much better for the period in the second half after a pretty flat first half. Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed a sitter in the first half, really should have scored, and Anthony Gordon missed 2 good chances. Miguel Almond's decision making was all over the place, but that mental and physical exhaustion just took its toll tonight. It's always been something that threatened to come, but that home form has almost kept Newcastle going, where you put in a performance like they did against Manchester United on Saturday, and it was just chalk and cheese from that. This evening, where Newcastle just never really looked overly convincing in the final third. They had a couple of moments, but that final 15 minutes, 2 clear errors from Kieran Trippier, and then just a lack of focus late on, and a 3-0 defeat. Uncharacteristic performance from Eddie Howe's side in many ways. And now you go ahead to that Spurs game hoping you're going to have a couple of players back. Jamal Lascelles went off with a dead leg late on, Eddie Howe said. Tonight, hopefully that's nothing serious. We saw Emil Kraft come on playing centre back, which, I mean, it's getting desperate now, this injury situation. But Eddie Howe did say a couple of injured players were back working at the training ground today, and he's hopeful having a couple back involved for the Spurs game, which would be a major boost to come soon enough, really, because I think it was 12 players out tonight, and they'll take anyone at the moment, and I think rotating the squad is very, very necessary at the moment, and it's just a question of who comes out and who comes in.
Who do you think those players might be? I know we're speculating here and guessing, but who do you think Newcastle United missed the most today? Because one thing that I'm maybe going to pick out, and he was not to blame for the game in any way, shape or form, but I think you see when Nick Pope doesn't play, he may have his critics, but when he doesn't play, it's a very different Newcastle United backline, particularly from set pieces.
Yeah, I think we talked about that during the game. Martin Dubravka, he made a good save to deny Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who will be disappointed to have conceded 3 on his return. Eddie Howe said he thought Dubravka's performance was actually decent on the night, but yeah, that command of the 6-yard box in particular in set pieces is just not there with Martin Dubravka. I think shot stopping wise, we've said before, he's very similar to Nick Pope in a lot of ways, but yeah, that command of the 6-yard box, particularly for set pieces, as you say, Liam, it just puts Newcastle under a lot more pressure, because catching the ball the way Nick Pope does a lot of times, just it's a sigh of relief, and Newcastle didn't have that same respite at times tonight, and yeah, it was a player Newcastle missed, but they're going to miss him for the majority of the rest of the season. Now they're going to have to live with it.
I think one of the unseen things that maybe gets overlooked a little bit because of that really high profile Mo Salah error in the Liverpool game, they'd seen him miss the Carabao Cup final, is the way that Nick Pope is a willing sweeper. He almost plays as a sweeper behind the back four and does a lot of dirty work, and yes, he isn't the best with the ball, but does a lot of dirty work that people don't really notice and see. I think they just miss he's an asset in that back four. There's a trust and a confidence that I'm sure will build with Martin Dubravka, because he's shown at Newcastle United he's a top class keeper. He's a Premier League goalkeeper, there's no doubt about it. There probably aren't a million better number 2s in Premier League football, really. He's a good one to come in, but he's no Nick Pope, and it has a very different skill set to what Nick Pope has, and I do think they missed that command and presence. And on a day like this where you need your leaders, having a player like that missing for me was quite a big one.
Just on your previous point, Liam, where you talked about players who could potentially come back, I think Sean Longstaff has been close. Joe Willock's not a million miles away. Sven Botman, me and Jordan spoke about it yesterday, teased that he's at the last few steps of his recovery. Whether Sunday will come too soon for him remains to be seen. But Eddie Howe speaking generally, he wouldn't give any names after the game tonight, but hopeful of seeing someone back, and I think Sean Longstaff is probably top of that list, would you say?
Yeah, sounds that way. How do we throw this forward, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, Sean Longstaff has been a miss, because as good as Lewis Miley has done, I think we've all touched upon it at some point, as Everton's band shot the back on there, we've all touched upon it at some point, that it's a very dangerous game, potentially having to flog Lewis Miley for as long as he can. He's still only 17 years old. Again, as I said before, performed extremely well, but almost you can't see him starting every game between now and the end of the season. I think he still needs a settling-in period. He's still only young, still only new to the Premier League, and the missing experienced head, which what Sean Longstaff is now in that midfield. So yeah, I'll be honest, I think he'll be one of the players that'll be back on Sunday. Will Eddie Howe have the temptation to throw him back in? I would probably say he does, because as Eddie Howe has proved when he's been able to make changes to the team, that Sean Longstaff has always been one player that's ended up staying in the start 11. For that Manchester United game, he ended up replacing Bruno in that sitting midfield role for the Carabao Cup. So if Sean Longstaff is fit, I'm sure Eddie Howe will back his fitness levels to get through. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he's going to have to try and make changes from Sunday. But the question is, who are the changes? That's the big worry, to see the injury situation. Every time Newcastle play a game, they pick up a fresh injury concern. To be fair, I can't see the end, and that's why it's they desperately need players back, because they're going to end up losing more players. So hopefully, the positive going forward is that they will have a few players back on Sunday. But you know, the frustrating thing is us as journalists is when they do pre-match press conferences after games, and Eddie Howe has just previewed the Tottenham game, having sat through 90 minutes of watching his team be demolished by Everton in the end. So we didn't get too much out of Eddie Howe at the end. But yeah, I mean, they need players. They need players back. It's as simple as that.
So nobody, I wasn't in with Eddie Howe, you guys were. There wasn't anybody asked him a silly question about did he enjoy Everton's win? Because I remember that from a few years ago. Anybody who might not know that story, you guys might tell it a little bit better. There was a reporter asked, I can't remember where he's from. Maybe Sky?
It was Sky.
Sky reporter. Because we all know Eddie Howe is an Everton fan, or has been when he was younger. I think as things move on, you know, allegiances change slightly. But he was an Everton fan as a boy because of the success in the 80s, etc. And a question immediately after an Everton result was, did you enjoy?
A 98th minute winner, by the way.
Yeah,
as well.
98th minute winner. Yeah, did you enjoy that? Does it sort of soften the fact that Everton won? Stupidest question I think I've ever heard in my 15 years in this industry.
You've heard us, so
Well, I know. Yeah, you are up there, but that is the pinnacle of questioning to Eddie Howe. Throw it forward for myself. What can I see from this? They'll face a totally different challenge on Sunday. Spurs are free flowing. They want to play football. They want to be on the front foot. There's going to be a bigger challenge to Newcastle United's back for whoever it is. Won't be the physical challenge that they face today, but it'll be full of pace, power, and running in behind. But there'll be spaces for them. They won't play against a compact two banks of 5 and 4, which they did against, which was excellent, by the way, for Sean Dyche's men. Like, he set them up like a Sean Dyche side. They were physical. They were strong. They won their battles. They won their tackles. They won their headers. And they were really compact, and Newcastle's midfield didn't have any space as the heavens open here on Merseyside. I think that's probably about time to wrap it up, I'd say. I know it's not the usual length we'll go to, but who wants to stand here in the pouring rain talking about a defeat? We want to get home, back to the beautiful lands in Tyneside, away from Merseyside, which doesn't tend to be a very happy hunting ground.
No, you don't like it, don't you?
I love Liverpool. I love everything about it, apart from visiting the two football teams where the results don't tend to be very good. I'm liking that head where Jordan adds a lovely flourish to the end of this Geordie Journos video.
I did try that, I don't know.
Right, like, comment, share, subscribe. I hope you've been able to hear it. I hope you've enjoyed the content. You know what to do. Click the bell for all your Geordie Journos content. Cheers, guys.